Is it premature to make this video? Yes it is. But partly because there's a big chance I'm wrong, I need to get this video out now before I self-silence me with the bell of shame for having the false analysis.
Shame!
When I look at Imogen and Lautner, I see a beautiful love story. But it's not the kind of love you're probably thinking of. Because when you look at them where they are right now in canon, not where they potentially could be or whatever they're growing into, it's not quite romantic nor quite platonic, is it? If you call them best friends, it feels like undervaluing their relationship in a major way. On the other hand, if you call them a romantic couple, you might be drawing conclusions ahead of what Imogen and Lautner have defined in the campaign. So, what exactly are they? My name is Sam, I'm your friendly Arrow Ace neighbor, and I'd like to take you on a journey of a type of love story that is fully unique, and simultaneously the universal tale that is as old as time. I started writing this script right after episode 49 of the third campaign of Critical Role aired. If you forgot what exactly happened that episode, it's the week before the solstice, when the Bell's House spent several days on the airship. It's also the episode where Lautner and Imogen finally have a heart-to-heart, telling they love each other, and then some.
You quite literally pulled me from darkness and death. That tether goes beyond this realm and this life.
What I like about this moment is that, in a way, it's underwhelming. Oh, okay, let me explain. I don't think I'm misconstruing this scene by calling it a confession. But it's not exactly a confession we haven't heard before, is it? It's not a grand declaration of love, even though it's the most explicit they have ever stated their love. They even explicitly tell each other they want to spend the rest of their lives together. That should be pretty confessional, right? But it feels too big to call it that, because everything they state in this moment they have stated before in some way or another. All they do is reaffirm it in this moment. Lautner even mentions how they
transcend words, our relationship.
They know how much they mean to each other. What else would they need? A kiss? A night where they enjoy each other's bodies? I don't think they need any of that to confirm their love. For example, a kiss on the lips is, stripped down to its core, simply an expression of a type of love. But you don't need the kiss to express that love. It could instead be a cuddle, or your foreheads touching, or baking cookies together in a dream or real life. Kissing can be nice, can't relate, but I've heard. But a kiss is not needed to confirm your love for someone. Not at all. Even if you romantically love that person and want to kiss them 1,000,000 times over a lifetime. A kiss in itself is not the love you feel for that person. It's only one way of showing your love for them. That's it. You probably show them you love them in 1,000,000 other ways too. If a kiss was added to this confessional scene, and let me be clear, I definitely do not oppose, the only thing it would add is a ping in your brain, a green checkmark if you will, infected by thousands of romances in movies and stories, that they truly must love each other now that the love is sealed with a kiss. But that would be a kiss for the audience. Lautner and Imogen don't need that confirmation. They know. They've known even before the campaign started, because for over 2 years they chose day after day to stay together. Everything they said in episode 49, they have said before. The only difference is that it's more pronounced, more intentional than the many small confessions they have had said to each other before this point.
My God, I love this town! Seriously, Laudna, let's move here after everything.
In a cozy cottage, in a field, raise horses, and just be. I mean, that's not true. I deeply love Imogen. I love you more than anything.
You know you saved my life, right? If you hadn't come into town when you did, I don't know how long I would have lasted. You're my tether, Laudna. Sometimes I feel like I'm about to float away, but as long as you're there.
So even after all of that, you're still pouting a little, putting your hands in your pockets and mumble, "But I just want them to kiss." I'd like to pose you a question. Why? Do you think their love is lesser because they haven't kissed yet? If they decide kissing isn't for them? Would that negate the love they clearly have said to each other out loud several times? Is a kiss somehow more impactful than the times they shared a bed the entire campaign, fell asleep cuddling each night, slept next to the other person while they are currently dead and knowing that's kind of fucked up but can't help it anyway, gave an expensive ring to the other person, have matching red threads around their wrist, held hands together, stated they love each other several times, stated they are each other's debtors, stated they want to spend the rest of their lives together, possibly on a farm raising horses, stated that tether transcends this realm and this life. Jesus, these witches be gay. Listen, if you're a queer person and are sick of clearly lesbian-coded characters being gal-pal by the narrative, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But that's not what I'm arguing here. I'm not toning down their relationship and yelling that women can be friends too, you guys. I'm taking Imogen and Laudna's relationship exactly at face value. All I'm doing is nudging you to see love beyond the narrow definitions we as a society have given it. And apart from some stupid trolls in the chat and people who are clearly ignorant on the subject, I think the cast and the majority of critters realize that too, consciously or subconsciously. Even though they might not think about it as much as we shippers do, they are not denying the strong bond between these two witches. It doesn't even matter if Laura and Marisha have intentionally played up the relationship or not. If they did, that's nice. But it's also beautiful if it naturally grew while role-playing. And yeah, if I see a comment that's like, "Stop making this relationship erotic," or "They're sisters," I too start to rip my hair out and yell, "Oh my god, they make out like all the time, you guys. They kiss and make love, and even though anatomically impossible, they make beautiful lavender-haired babies together through their magic." And I'm not actually saying things that I personally think reflects Imogen and Laudna's canonical relationship. I'm only angry that some bucknut isn't seeing what is right in front of their nose. But just because some rando on the internet forgot to pull off their straight goggles, that should not be my problem. That's their baggage to deal with. So, let's all take a collective breath and move on. Now, I have deliberately been dancing around certain terminology, because I know people tend to have a knee-jerk reaction to certain words. So if you're either asexual or aromantic and are wondering why I haven't called the relationship by its name, that's why. Psst, this is, by the way, a free tip I'd like to give if you have people around you who might not understand queer or not particular aro and ace terminology. Simply describe your feelings without the words. They might not get the words, but they may be able to understand your feelings. Though I think it's time to stop pulling wool over your eyes and simply label the kind of love I've been describing this entire video. Are you ready? Pinky promise you won't make fun of me? That goes for you too, fellow queers. Okay. What I've been describing in this video could be defined as a queer platonic relationship. You promised. No take-backsies. So, what the hell is a queer platonic relationship? A queer platonic relationship, or QPR for short, tends to bend the lines between a romantic and non-romantic relationship. It often goes beyond what is socially acceptable for a platonic relationship. For instance, stating explicit commitment to each other like you would in a romance. No, you don't have to be aromantic and/or asexual to be in a QPR. Though it is far more common in these communities because we tend to experience love quite differently from a vast portion of the population. That might still be fake. So, an example. I had a queer platonic partner for 2 years. We were in a committed and monogamous relationship. We liked to cuddle and hold hands and obviously spend time together. We talked a lot, she made me laugh a ton. We had a good time together. We even talked about a potential future together. And like true gays, we're still friends after we broke it off. And being friends is definitely different from what we were before. And in case you're wondering, yes, I needed some time to get over my broken heart and see her not as my partner, but as a friend. But our love at the time we were in a QPR was not any less committed because we didn't feel the need to kiss each other on the lips every once in a while. Now, if you put the definition of a QPR next to Imogen and Lodna, doesn't that perfectly describe their relationship? Goes beyond what is socially acceptable for a platonic relationship? Isn't that why so many of us are in love with that dynamic, regardless of how it pans out? I don't know yet what their relationship blooms into. Hell, they might all die in a solstice next episode. You might know, depending on when you watch this video. But the love Lodna and Imogen have for each other is undeniable. And it's not going to be that much different even if they do end up kissing or whatever else. I don't think that will cancel out the massive queer platonic vibes they have had since the very beginning of the campaign. You can still make out or bang while still having a relationship that doesn't quite fit the very narrow definition society has given to love. And I honestly think their relationship will always end up teetering around the edges of what would be considered acceptable, regardless how they end up defining their bond.
I feel like our weirdness is what makes us right. Is that dumb?
Not at all. Look at us. Do you really think we're destined for normalcy?
No.
The story between Lodna and Imogen is the tale of love you've seen so many times before and will see so many times after. But this time, they might not express that love in conventional ways. You might have waited for a kiss, waited for them to fully declare their love for each other. But I think you might have missed it. Because this scene right here, that was it. That was their declaration of love to each other.
I don't mind being your better half.
The love between Lodna and Imogen cannot be put in a neat little box that's labeled either platonic or romantic. It's something outside of that. But it doesn't make their love any lesser. Just, queer.